Hi, welcome to a new episode of Video Update. Well, tonight or this evening, I want to talk about Star Trek. Yeah, there has been many rumors on YouTube, many videos. Yeah, people have uploaded many videos and talk about, they're going to create Star Trek number 4 with Chris Pine as Captain Kirk. The fourth movie, they have talked about lots of things about that. We're gonna create it. Fans can expect the Star Trek number 4, the Kelvin universe. Yeah. One moment they said that they're gonna create it, they're gonna make it, but in another point, we're gonna cancel it. And in another moment, they said, we're going to create the movie. Star Trek 4. And it goes this and that and that and this. So they can't make up their mind. Or are they going to create Star Trek 4 with Chris Pine as Captain James T. Kirk? Or not? Yeah. So come on. Are they going to be a Star Trek 4 or aren't? Yeah. Well, because we're fans. Yeah, fans all over the world are sick and tired of this. Yeah. They promised, they said, we're going to create that Star Trek movie and that Star Trek movie and that Star Trek movie. And later on, maybe a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks later, we're going to cancel those movies because they're not going to be any movies about Star Trek. And then, let's create TV shows. Yeah. Well, so they created Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, 5 seasons. Cancelled after the 5th season. Well, I have been watching Star Trek Discovery 4 seasons. Yeah. Well, I have watched 3 of them on Netflix for a couple of years ago when it aired on Netflix, and the 4th season number 4, on Apple TV. Yeah, Apple TV works sometimes with Paramount. Yeah. So I watched season number 4 there. And season 1 started very good. Till the problem when I saw the Klingons. Yeah. They look like frogs. Rabbit. Yeah. Frogs. Have you seen Discovery? The Klingons? They look like frogs. Yeah. They don't look like Klingons at all. No. And season 2 started. After season 1, they saw the spaceship Enterprise at the end of season 1, I believe. Yeah. And you see in season 2, you see Spock, you see Pike, and the crew comes on board the Discovery. And, in end of season 4, yeah, the 4th season, that Discovery and Enterprise go separately ways. Discovery goes straight into the future, and Enterprise goes in the same timeline that they always are. Now in season 2, in end of the season, you know what I mean. They meet up with Captain Pike and Spock, and And season 4, when they go into the future, that ruins it. Yeah, they ruin Discovery when they go into the future. Yeah, they ruin it. So I watched only 4 seasons complete. And when 4 seasons end, and then a little bit later on they announce, the 5th season's going to come out. Well, I decide, no. I'm finished. I'm through with watching Discovery. I don't like Star Trek Discovery. No, I don't like it. Because they ruined the timeline. And, well, also, when Star Trek Discovery, the ship, goes straight into the future, they go past Star Trek Next Generation and past Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Yeah. And the show is supposed to be 10 years before Captain James T. Kirk, Spock, Scotty, and McCoy, and Sulu, and Mr. Chekhov, and, the woman, the woman, Ahura, the woman in Star Trek. Yeah. So, that Discovery is going to be 10 years before William Shatner comes in. Yeah. So they go straight into the future. There we have the original show. There we have Next Generation. There we have Deep Space Nine. There we have Voyager. And the other TV shows of Star Trek. And here, at the end, we have Discovery. So, they ruin it. That's why I quit watching Discovery. And that's why Discovery is... Well, I had one season with Star Trek Deep Space Nine on DVD. Yeah, well, I bought it because I'm probably gonna like it. But no, I hated it after I watched the 4th season. And I gave it away. I gave my season 1 away. And now, I will not buy Discovery on any formats at all. But Star Trek, I want to buy Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy, that had 2 seasons and got cancelled, I heard. And Lower Decks. That's a question mark, because I have only watched a couple of clips here and there with Lower Decks, so I don't know if I'm gonna like Lower Decks or not, but I'm gonna take a chance to watch it every season, all the seasons with Star Trek Lower Decks. Well, then we have Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Yeah, Brannon Braga and the other guy that also created the other shows with Star Trek, Rick Berman, I think his name is. They humiliate. Yeah, they humiliate this guy named Kurtzman, that create Strange New Worlds. Because, Strange New Worlds started at the top as a great show. And when the seasons go by, it starts to get bad reviews. Yeah. So it ups and downs with Strange New Worlds as well. But, I have only watched a couple of episodes, 1 or 2 episodes, on Sky Showtime, and I watched in the middle of season 1, not from the beginning, but in the middle, and and then I forgot to watch the rest. So I only watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Um, so I'm gonna watch Strange New Worlds to see if I like it or not. We will see what the future brings. Um, well, here's the problem. Star Trek Voyager. Well, at the beginning of the last episode called Endgame, yeah, you see that Janeway has a huge welcome home party, and they watched the the on the news that they show. Oh, Star Trek Voyager are home. They are home, and you see the rockets in the air, and they watched that little clip on the news that Voyager are back. And well, later on, you see that Janeway want to go back in time to bring Voyager back early. Yeah, because Janeway had lost many of her crew, so she will go back in time and bring all of them back. But her younger self isn't really impressed with this. So she don't like this. She wants to do her own way. But that the older Janeway, Admiral Janeway, she convinced the young Janeway to work with her and bring Voyager back early. And then they must face the Borg. Yeah. So that is, yeah, it's a great 1.5 hour episode. But it doesn't feel the end of Voyager. No, it doesn't feel the end. No. It's like a cliffhanger. Because the end of that 1.5 hour episode, you see that Voyager comes through, and then you see the Borg ship comes after them, and it explodes, and you see all the Federation spaceship at the end. Yeah, but it doesn't feel like an end, a closure. No. Well, you see that Star Trek, William Shatner and his crew, James T. Kirk and his crew, they have six and a half movies, 6.5 movies, or 7 movies. The motion picture, The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, The Voyage Home, and the 5th one and the 6th one called Undiscovered, and the Generations. Yeah, so they have movies, and also the Next Generation crew with Picard. They have also movies. But what the Voyager and Deep Space Nine and the TV show Enterprise, they don't have any movies. They only got TV shows. Yeah. So instead of those people that create Star Trek, create new movie. Oh, now we're going to create a new TV show called Star Trek Academy. Yeah. Come on. Instead of that TV show Academy, why don't you create Star Trek Legacy? Yeah, Star Trek Legacy is the continuation, the sequel to Star Trek Picard. Yeah, why don't you create that show? Star Trek Legacy. Yeah. Well, because last episode of Picard, you see that Q has a very intense communication with Picard's son. Yeah. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. What happened? So create Star Trek Legacy. And if you're gonna create movies, create some movies of Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager. Let them get closer. Closer, like you did with the Next Generation. In Star Trek Picard, they made season 3 the last season of the Next Generation. They joined together to save Picard's son from an old enemy known as the Borg. Yeah. Closure. So Next Generation got closure. Voyager, no. What happened between Voyager and Picard? What happened to 7 of 9? Yeah, we see her in Picard. Is a little tougher and than she were when she was on the Voyager. And she's a bounty hunter. For the first time we see her in Picard. How does she become a bounty hunter? Yeah. And what happened between there? So we could get a story about that. If they create maybe a Voyager, a continuation, a couple of seasons, and how did Janeway become an admiral? Was it when she got back to Earth with Voyager and the crew that she becomes an admiral? Or did she take some tests, Did she go to some school or something to become an admiral? What happened? Yeah, so Kate Mulgrew, yeah, she started in Star Trek Prodigy with Robert Picardo and Robert Beltram, I think his name is, the guy who plays Chakotay. Yeah, they play together in Star Trek Prodigy. It's a great show, great animated show about Star Trek. Yeah, you see Kate Mulgrew plays double role. She plays the hologram Janeway, the hologram, the Captain Janeway hologram, and she plays the Admiral. Yeah. It's a great show, but it got cancelled after 2 seasons. Yeah. Why? Oh, let's create Star Trek Academy! Yay! Don't create Star Trek Academy. If you want to create a Star Trek show, here is what you're gonna do. Star Trek Prodigy. Create more seasons of Star Trek Prodigy and give it a closure. Also, an episode that are closure. And if you want to create more TV show, create Legacy. Star Trek Legacy, the sequel to Star Trek Picard, and see what's gonna happen to Picard's son when he comes up with Q, and what's gonna happen to 7 of 9 when she becomes the captain of this spaceship. Yeah, and also, what's gonna happen to Janeway? Yeah, what's gonna happen to her? No, we don't care about Janeway no more. Yeah, so Prodigy ended with 2 seasons, and that's it. Well, 30 years, 30 years, 1995, Rick Berman and the Brannon Braga guy, yeah, created Star Trek Voyager in 1995 for 7 seasons. Only on TV. No movies at all. No. We don't need movies with Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, or Star Trek Enterprise. No, we don't need movies with them. We got Captain James T. Kirk, and we got Mr. Picard. Yeah. Patrick Stewart and William Shatner. Those are the captains we need for these movies. From the motion picture in 1978, I believe, and Star Trek Nemesis in the beginning of 2000. Those are the movies we need. And the rest is history. We don't need more. We don't need Enterprise with Captain Archer and his crew. We don't need a Scott Bakula movie as Captain Archer. No. We don't need, the guy who play Benjamin Sisko in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No, we don't need those movies. Or Kate Mulgrave as Janeway in Voyager. No, we don't need Voyager as a movie. No. And you know why this Star Trek fail? Going straight in the toilet? Well, because the fans out there, including me, yeah, I'm a Star Trek fan. I love Star Trek. And we want Voyager. Well, we want some movies of Voyager. And we want maybe a new season or a couple of seasons with Voyager. Because, you created Picard. 3 whole seasons. And season number 3 with Picard is a closure of the next generation. Yeah. So now, no more next generation. So, Voyager needs a closure. What happened to Janeway? What's going to happen to her? Is she going to be a captain? Or is she going to be an admiral, or a general? Or what? Yeah, what's going to happen to Chakotay? Yeah, Chakotay. What's going to happen to him? And what's going to happen to 7 of 9? Jeri Ryan. She comes back in Picard and plays 7 of 9. What's going to happen to her? Yeah. Well, now at the end of season 3, we got to know 7 of 9 becomes a captain of the ship. So what's going to happen to that? And the Maquis, the Maquis. What's going to happen to the Maquis? You heard about the Maquis in Star Trek Next Generation. You heard about the Maquis in Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager. So what's going to happen to the Maquis? Yeah, and the last episode with Voyager is you heard that Tuvok. Yeah, you heard Tuvok has this sickness. So what's happened to him? Is he going to die of the sickness, or is he going to survive? So, and Kes, Ocampa, what's going to happen to her? Yeah, she comes back later on and she gets revenge over Voyager. Well, because you know that Kes blames Voyager for taking her away from her home. Yeah, so what happened to Kes at the end? And you know that caretaker? Yeah, you know the caretaker you see in season 1, the episode called Caretaker. And also you see the caretaker's wife or daughter, I believe, a little bit later on in season 1 or season 2. Yeah. What's going to happen to her or him, the caretaker? And like you know, Neelix. Yeah, Neelix. Yeah. What's going to happen to him? Is Neelix going to be maybe a Borg drone? Or maybe Neelix gonna be a captain of a spaceship. Maybe he joins the Federation and becomes a captain. Or maybe he maybe he gonna be the king of his home planet. You know, Talaxian. Yeah, he's a Talaxian. So what's gonna happen to Neelix? Or maybe he's gonna be a cook. Yeah, cook. He loves to create food. Yeah, he on Voyager he turns the galley, you know, where they eat dinner. He turns that into like a restaurant, a cafe, or something, and he make food and he share the food with all the crew on a Voyager. Yeah. Maybe he'd be a great cook. Maybe he have a TV show on TV. Yeah, what's gonna happen to Neelix? Yeah, so Kurtzman, you Kurtzman. Yeah, don't create new shows. Create continuous from Voyager, Deep Space Nine. Yeah, you know the end of Deep Space Nine. You see Benjamin Sisko. Yeah, he leaves with you know at the beginning he becomes the emissary, and at the end he has to leave the Deep Space, the DS9, and his crew. He has to leave his family because these creatures in those you know in space they have they go through from one place to another place. Yeah. So he has to leave. So what's happened to Benjamin Sisko? Does he comes back to meet his son? Or maybe meet his granddaughter or grandson after his son gets married, have children? So what's going to happen to Benjamin Sisko? Yeah. And, well, Enterprise, you know, Captain Archer and his crew. Well, it ended like you saw a crossover episode. You saw Riker, you saw Riker, and you saw Deanna Troi, Jonathan Frakes, and the woman who plays Marina Sirtis. Yeah, you saw them in the last episode of Star Trek Enterprise. But it didn't feel like an end episode. It doesn't felt like a closure of Enterprise. No. So also the fans want maybe another season of that, or maybe a movie, Star Trek Enterprise, the movie with Captain Jonathan Archer, played by Scott Bakula, and his crew. Yeah. Well, they don't get any younger, people. So create, as I said to you, don't create new shows like Star Trek Academy or other shows of Star Trek. No, don't. Give these shows a closure. Yeah, like Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise. Give them a closure. Uh, Give them an end movie or an end episode that makes it, you know, well, as they did with the Next Generation. Yeah, they did it in season 3 with Picard. A closure. Well, they closed the door of Next Generation now. They closed the door. But they haven't done that on Voyager. No. Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. No. The doors are still open. It's time to close the doors. But they haven't. So they are open. Open. Yeah. So create some movies, TV shows, seasons of Voyager, Enterprise, Deep Space Nine. Yeah. And also, if you're gonna put Star Trek on Blu-ray, do Voyager. Voyager. Put Voyager on Blu-ray. Deep Space Nine. Put that show also on Blu-ray. And Enterprise, they have Blu-ray, so But Voyager and Deep Space Nine don't exist on Blu-ray. No. Only on DVD and VHS. Alex Kurtzman. Yeah, that's the guy who creates the new Star Trek shows these days. Yeah. Don't create Academy. No. People don't want to see Star Trek Academy. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. As Power Rangers, Ninja Kids, that was a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. Because that didn't work. No, it didn't. I didn't like it. And I maybe know other people out there that also didn't like it. They watched it. Oh, Power Rangers, Ninja Kids. Wow, cool. And they watched it and they didn't like it. No. Power Rangers need also a closure. Yeah. 30 years. 1993 till 2023. 32 years now. Yeah. So Power Rangers need a closure. So don't create any reboot remake of Power Rangers. Don't. It didn't work. You try to get a new actor, new actor to play the Green Ranger, and you look how that was when you created a new actor to play the Green Ranger. It didn't work. Well, it doesn't. When you're gonna create Power Rangers, that these kids gonna be martial arts. They're gonna do karate. They're gonna do kickboxing and all kinds of martial arts. But there's some difficulties. Yeah. That Jason David Frank. Yeah, he was a martial arts star. Yeah. He didn't learn these things when he gonna play Power Rangers. Oh, now I'm gonna have a trainer that's gonna train me in martial art. No. He didn't become a martial arts star because of the Power Rangers. No. He did martial art in his spare time. Yeah. And all the other Power Rangers that worked on the show, the old show, they didn't train. They didn't train with a trainer. Oh no, you have to train because you have to use martial art in Power Rangers, so you have to train martial art. No. They didn't, because they knew martial art in the spare time, because they trained in their spare time. Yeah. They didn't become a martial arts star because of Power Rangers. No, they didn't. They knew martial art before they played in Power Rangers. Yeah. And you see the Ninja Kids. Why do they call themselves Ninja Kids? They don't have ninja suits. No, they don't. So why do they call themselves Ninja Kids when they don't have any ninja suit on? Yeah. So back to Star Trek. So give those TV shows, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, closure. Yeah. Well, you have put Chris Alex or Chris Kurtzman. You have put 7 of 9 in Star Trek Picard as a bounty hunter at the beginning and then a captain at the end. So how did 7 of 9 become a bounty hunter? So what happened? And Janeway, how did Janeway become an admiral? And what happened between Voyager and Prodigy? What happened there? Yeah, you hear that Chakotay, one of the crew members, disappears. So what happened? So if you want to create more series Star Trek, create continuation of Picard in Star Trek Legacy, create more seasons of Star Trek Prodigy, or make more seasons of Star Trek Enterprise, or make movies, a couple of movies of Enterprise and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Give the old TV show a closure. Close the door. Yeah, because you haven't closed the door on these shows yet. Only on Picard. Yeah. Only on Next Generation, Next Generation, you close the door. You gave them closure. You know what I mean? Well, that's it for now. Star Trek. Yeah. I hope that they're going to create more Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah, I hope that they're going to create movies of Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Voyager, and also put Voyager and Deep Space Nine on Blu-ray. Yeah, I hope that. Yeah. So that's it for video update this evening. Share your knowledge, collection with other Doctor Who fans all over the world. As the fourth Doctor used to say, do you want a jelly baby? Yeah, and if I watched the video till the end, hashtag give Star Trek, the old TV show, a closure. Hashtag give the old Star Trek shows a closure. Yeah. Bye.